Hey, what's up guys, it's me XPC and welcome to my review of Marvel's Spider-Man Episode 6, Sandman. This week there are 3 new episodes, which is crazy awesome, because more of this show is definitely a welcome change, because it's, more Spider-Man. So without any further ado, let's get started. So this episode opens with Peter and the gang enjoying a nice day at the carnival. Well, they're not really enjoying it, they're not having much fun at all. Other than Peter, he's having a lot of fun, but nobody else is. Since the Stark Expo is coming up soon, they need to stabilize the V252, aka the Black Symbiote, so they can show it off at the expo. They're hoping that they can add the V252 as a new element to the periodic table, which sounds pretty nuts for, science geeks out there. But anyways, in the middle of their fun, a giant sand creature attacks everybody at the carnival, and the sand creature goes after a girl that we don't know yet. But Spider-Man eventually saves that girl. Gwen and her friends decide to help Spider-Man take down the creature by making a high pressurized water gun with the equipment around the carnival. And they made it in less than 2 minutes, which is pretty ridiculous. So Spider-Man uses that gun to take out the sand creature, but before the sand creature is taken out, he says, "Help me," to Spider-Man. Now after that whole situation, Peter manages to acquire a sample of the sand and decides to analyze it at Horizon High. He thinks that by doing some, sciencey stuff, he could help the sand creature. Miles then hands over the V252 to Peter in hoping that he can get some research done. Now the V252 breaks out of its canister and latches onto Peter without him knowing. And that should have set off his spider sense. Really? That's a fail. But Peter then takes the sand sample to his house, which was a very bad idea because it lured Sandman to his house, and Sandman then attacks Peter and Aunt May, but Peter is now in his Spider-Man costume. He leads him out of the house and releases the sand sample into the creature's body, which turns the creature into a human, and that human is Flint Marko, aka the Sandman. In this show, his backstory plays out similarly to Spider-Man 3, where he's a father and he's trying to help provide for his daughter. But the difference here is that Marko is working for Hammerhead. Well, he was working for Hammerhead until he lured him into a nuclear plant and stuffed him full of sand, essentially turning him into Sandman. Now Flint's daughter has been kidnapped by Hammerhead, so Spider-Man and Sandman go to save her. But the twist here is that Flint's daughter also has the same sand powers as her father. It turns out that Flint took her daughter, Keemia, to the facility where Keemia followed her father and got hit with the sand as well. Now Keemia is voiced by Sophia Carson, who was in the Descendants movies, and I actually recently watched those 2 movies and I quite enjoyed them. So definitely like seeing her here. She does a pretty good job as Keemia here, depicting her anger towards her father for failing her essentially. Now Flint, Spider-Man, and her daughter duke it out until Keemia gets the upper hand and traps Spider-Man and Flint. Now I didn't really expect this to happen, but because it's a Disney show and all, it's for kids, but Keemia actually murders her father, and pretty brutally too, even though I know they're just made out of sand. But I doubt Flint's dead, because sand can come back. I don't know, but he'll come back, but that was really brutal. But Keemia eventually takes out Spider-Man as well, but not for long, because the symbiote then kicks in and takes over Peter, creating the black suit Spider-Man, which breaks him out of the sand trap. Now let me just say, this black suit that is in the show is sweet. I love it. It is amazing. I might even go as far as saying that it's better than Spectacular Spider-Man's black suit. Now, they took inspiration from Anya's Spider-Girl costume. Now, I kind of wonder if the symbiote might later on in the show latch on to Anya at one point in the show, and she might be able to control that symbiote and use it as her costume. But that's just, a theory of its own. I don't know what will happen. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Now, Black Suit Spider-Man absolutely wrecks everybody, but Keemia manages to escape. In the end, Peter decides to keep the symbiote for a little while, and that's it for the episode. So, final verdict here is that doing the Spider-Man 3 approach to Sandman was a very good thing to do, because that's, my favorite approach to Sandman, because, it makes him more relatable. But despite the faults of Spider-Man 3, Sandman is what made the movie a little bit better, and his intentions. But something I didn't like about this episode was Hammerhead. He was like really lame and underutilized here, and the voice didn't fit his character like that well at all. Spider-Man, and when he was fighting Hammerhead, Spider-Man just whips, and then he's done. That we don't even get to see Hammerhead use his head that hurts like a hammer when he hits somebody. Like, I'm gonna compare it to Spectacular Spider-Man, because Hammerhead, despite him being a lackey, he still puts up a very good fight against Spider-Man, showing off his steel head and taking Spider-Man down. I think he did it once or twice, but he's still pretty formidable against Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man. But in this show, Spider-Man just whips him, and that's it, he's done. But the Sand Girl approach definitely makes up for this episode. It's a very cool and different approach, because I'm pretty sure that Flint's daughter does not have sand powers in the comics, as far as I know. So definitely it's different to see him and his daughter get sand powers. So definitely I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and definitely stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. Definitely like the video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out, and game on.